What training methods do I use? I am well versed in essentially every training method that there is, from clicker training, prong collar, slip chain, the Caesar method, Caesar Milan method, and electronic collar training. 95% of my clientele today is trained on electronic collar. If you read my reviews on Yelp, Facebook, Google Plus, and Thumbtack, all those reviews that you're reading, 95% of them are electronic collar. I stopped using prong collar, not completely. I still incorporate every now and then. It's very rare, but I stopped using prong collar as soon as I learned the Richard Hines' method of electronic collar training, simply because it is so simple and effective to use. I love electronic collar. It makes things very easy for the dog and for the client. Trainers on the positive reinforcement only spectrum will tell you that trainers like myself are lazy, and that we're using punishment as a way to coerce dogs to respond, and that we don't want to take time to teach your dog how to behave or how to perform their obedience reliably. And the simple truth is, positive reinforcement only training will not work in a good 99% of behavior cases, especially aggression cases. And in regards to obedience, not that your dog won't learn the obedience, but the obedience will not be at the level of reliability that a trainer like myself would want. So if someone approaches me and has a dog that's out of control, who has no impulse control, and cannot focus, and they need to learn how to walk appropriately on a leash and stuff, and they go, I don't want to use aversives, I just want to use positive reinforcement only, I would say, no. You can look around and you can find another trainer, but I will not train your dog, because I know positive only will get that dog so far, and it's not going to be very far, I'll tell you that, to be honest. So I'm not going to put my name out there on a dog just because they're like, oh, I'll pay you just to use these methods, and I go, no, because when I train a dog, I have a certain standard that each dog needs to meet. And if they don't meet that standard, or if I'm being told don't use these methods because I don't want to do that with my dog, then I go, I don't want to put my name on your dog, because your dog's a walking billboard for my work. So if they're out of control, people are like, oh, who trained your dog? And then they're going to say me, and of course that's not going to look too good. So I am primarily electronic collar based. E-collar, very effective, very efficient, very simple, and very reliable, especially if you want off-leash obedience. That is the only way I will do off-leash training, is through electronic collar. If you do prong or slip chain or what have you, once you take that leash off, unless your dog is very disciplined, you're only going to have so much control, because the dog knows, oh, you've clipped off that leash, now there's no physical link between us, and I can blow you off. So I am a big advocate for electronic collar training. What I also like is that rate of transference is very high. And that's just a fancy way of saying that when I work with your dog and I train them, let's say to walk on a leash, and you see me do all this stuff with your dog, and then I hand the remote and the leash to you, and I say, when this happens, you're going to do this, and you're going to press this button, that the dog responds to you just as well as he or she does to me, and it's about 85 to 90% of what I just did transfers over very easily. So this is how, when I work with dogs that are reactive, or dogs that are just have no direction or focus, that I go from week 1 to week 2, and you see a complete difference, because it's very simple to use. We can always match the dog. That's never a problem, as long as we were using the right collar for each dog. But then also, when working with behavior cases, this electronic collar allows me to fix cases that before I did electronic collar, I could not even think about trying to work with. It would have been a nightmare trying to get these dogs to where I wanted them to be. And electronic collar takes away a lot of that conflict, a lot of that frustration. Everybody's neutral. It's not punishment. We're not coming in to make your dog yelp or anything. It's simply a means of communication that dogs understand. So, what training methods do I use? I know them all, but I am for the most part, predominantly electronic color based.